Paul Flory is a perfect example of the saying, "Time flies when you're having fun." When approached to direct a small local tennis tournament in 1975, he agreed to do it 1 year. He's still at it 34 years later, and the Cincinnati sports landscape hasn't been the same since.
It was like the man who came to dinner and didn't know when to go home. I just continued and continued and continued.
You know, it's really his life's love and his life's work, and he puts his heart and soul into it.
You know, he worked very hard, but it never seemed like he was working very hard.
He just can't stand to not see it the best.
I mean, I've never met anybody that's so consumed with something as much as Paul's consumed with tennis.
I've never seen Paul pick up a racket, but if someone said, "What's his racket?" tennis is his racket. And he is really, really dedicated to it.
Growing up in Dayton, Paul's love for tennis was cultivated at a young age, thanks in large part to the influence of his older brother, Bruce.
Being 4 years older, you tend to worship everything he does. And he played a lot of tennis and was a pretty good player. And I always enjoyed the game because of him.
He always looked up to his brother, and he was kind of like his idol growing up, and his brother played and he was good at it. And so I think, you know, Dad was always trying to play enough to where kind of impress his brother.
Despite his enjoyment of the sport, Paul never considered tennis to be his future. And so it took a backseat to his other ambitions, a college education at Yale University, a stint in the Navy that included a tour in the South Pacific during World War II, and a 40-year career at Procter & Gamble.
But don't tack that 40 on to the 34 years because they overlap. In the early days when I was doing the tennis tournament, it was extremely small, so I could handle my job at P&G and still help out with the tennis tournament.
The tournament may have started small, but under Paul's direction, it quickly grew. Through the help of friends Bill Keating and Charlie Meacham, Paul was able to secure financial backing and a venue in which to play, and by landing a coveted date just before the U.S. Open, he was able to attract the top players.
It's put Cincinnati and the city of Mason on the world map.
The tennis tournament gives our region exposure in almost every country across the globe.
There's nothing in the sports world in Ohio that has that kind of reach.
And the benefits of the tournament don't end there. Over the years, the Western and Southern Financial Group Masters and Women's Open have generated millions of dollars for 3 local charities.
The men's tournament has benefited Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center, to which it's given over $7.4 million over the past 35 years.
And then Tennis for City Youth got involved, where there's an inner-city tennis program. We provided rackets and lessons for inner-city kids.
The Barrett Cancer Center has more recently become a beneficiary of the tennis tournament, particularly in the women's tennis tournament, and it's been very helpful.
I think the secret to the tournament's success has been the Flory family.
It's been fun. I mean, it's been a fun, thing, part of the family. My mom was, involved for so many years.
It would be not uncommon to see Carolyn out picking up garbage just to make sure the site is clean.
Family is the center of his universe, and Carolyn was the very center.
They all live, breathe, eat, drink, and the whole 9 yards of this tournament. This is really important, and with that kind of dedication, you get the kind of results we get, which is a wonderful experience.
Keep in mind he's a volunteer. He's not getting paid for anything.
All these years that he has been operating the tournament, he has never taken a nickel in compensation.
I felt that I didn't need it to be a paid position, but I thought it would be a great donation to the city, to tennis.
It wasn't about making money for the Flory family. It was about putting on a world-class tournament for the greater Cincinnati area.
To be certain, 34 years is a long time to be doing anything. But don't tell Paul Flory that.
I think he couldn't do what he does for as many years as he does without really just believing 100% in the tournament and everything that makes the tournament what it is.
He is a typical example of the expression, he's gotten older, but he hasn't gotten old.
You don't know if he's 41 or 101. He's just kind of jumping along and loaded with energy, tons of energy.
But clearly he loves the sport of tennis, continues to play. I think anybody guessing Paul's age would put him in his 60s.
He's very good. He's quick. He's still very quick on his feet.
Nowadays, he's always looking for a good partner.
I think if you saw him out there, you'd think, well, I can play.
It has been a long career, and it's one of these days I'll have to step off the trolley. But again, it's been rewarding to be involved in something that is beneficial to the community.
Just keep on trucking, Paul. Whatever you're doing, keep on doing it. I expect you to be doing this for at least another 15 or 20 years. We're just getting going.
No, what Paul would want me to say to everybody in the room is please buy a ticket to this year's tournament and tell all your friends to do so also.